Hey, how's everyone doing today?
Hello.
It is last time we recorded, I went back and I listened to it. You could hear the wind outside of the building
Mm,
because it was so bad. And today is pretty much bad again.
big saying. Yep.
So if it's windy, check out YouTube. We might be live.
There you go.
We are here today with, we're going to do a lot of Disney news. We finished up the spring break recap for my trip to Disney World a few weeks ago. It's hard to believe we've already been back. That Sunday will be a month from when we left for
Oh
Disney.
my gosh, that did go fast.
So we have that, so I hope you check it out. Lots of good info there, and
Some currently outdated info too. That's why we're
which
here.
is, yeah. Like right after we posted the
Yeah.
first video, I was like, okay, we're already out of date with some of this. So that's what this one's going to be. We're going to do a lot of some updates here, and we're going to get into a few different things. So, Chelsea, what news do you have for us?
So, like Tyler said, we have had an abundance of news come out just probably in the last week. It's almost overwhelming, but most of it is good news. There's just a little bit of not so much good news, but we'll get to that later. Let's talk about the good things, obviously. My favorite, which I took advantage of, and I hope you guys will too, is it July through September? Is that the promo?
July 8th through September 30th.
If you're going to a Walt Disney World resort, and mind you, you do have to be staying on site on property through July 8th through September,
All through the
I
month.
think 30th, yes, you are eligible for a 15 to 25% discount if you are currently a Disney Plus subscriber. All you have to do is get a hold of your travel agent, or if you book directly through Disney, call them, give them your email in which your subscription is under, and depending on where you are staying, if you're staying at a deluxe, I think you get the full 25%. If you're staying at a moderate, I think you get about 20%. And if you're staying at a value resort, you get 15%. The exception is arts and animation as a value resort. If you are booked in a suite, you qualify for the 20% off discount. For myself, my family, we have a room at Pop Century, and we have a arts and animation suite. The Arts and Animation Suite promo saved us about $450, and the Pop Century saved us about $225. So if you do that addition, it pretty much takes off a whole free night during your entire stay. Totally worth it. Check into it. If you're not going through those dates, maybe you could switch them around and fit into that if your budget allows or your time. But definitely take advantage of it if you're going during that time.
And I think also with that, as far as the dates go, I believe, as long as you are checking in during that time window. So if you are even checking in on September 30th, they still count you even if the majority of your trip's in October.
Yes.
And that's a lot of, how much, you said 400?
About $450 it took off of my mom and sister's suite.
You could skip the line for Rise of the Resistance one time with that kind of money.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Well, my thinking is that, the dining plans, they're pretty costly. And while they're not back yet, I love having the Disney dining plan. So if it comes back, that's already paid for with that discount pretty much. So, or we could put it towards it heavily. So it's a win-win. And if not, I mean, like you said, you've already contributed that to the rest of your stay, or you can take it back and save it for spending. I could spend $450 as a souvenir.
Well, and I remember from our trip, a family of 4 on 4 days, adding on Park Hopper was about $360. So
Yes.
a $450 savings would
We'll
pay
cover
for
a Park
Park
Hopper if you wanted to try that.
only for a family of 4 for 4 days. Any longer than that, it's going to be higher. But that's a good deal. My advice is when you call Disney, especially after a promotion is just gone, they're extremely busy.
Yes.
Sometimes you even have to sit through a queue on the website and wait so long before you can even enter the website. So our advice is always, I believe customer service opens at 7 Eastern Time, 6 Central, and call immediately, because it could be the difference of having a 50-minute hold and maybe only a couple of minutes.
Yes.
I would also say get on the website, try to start a chat from the help contact us window, and call at the same time, and just whoever picks up first, hang up on the other one. if it's hold music, don't hang up on a person while they're trying to help you. That's rude. But
And also, while this promo has been released, there's probably more people that have booked during this time just to accept that promo. So if you are interested in it, I suggest go ahead and get your trip booked. That way you can guarantee a room reservation at all.
And since we're talking about reservations, may as well remind again, don't forget you need a park reservation. So before you book your trip, your trip, there we go, your trick. Before you book your trip, go ahead and make sure you have availability for that
Yes.
day. If not, go back to something else and do that then. So that's what we haven't really anything new. But I just really like the way this headline reads. Oh, it's cut off a little bit. Let me move you up there. That's how we felt kind of for that trip. Our mostly useless experience with Disney Genie Plus at Hollywood Studios. And the one new piece of information that they have done with that is they've changed their fine print on Genie Plus.
Mm-hmm.
They now say
that way you can't complain if you get it and you only get to ride 2 or 3 rides a day, which is probably the norm. They went ahead and included that in your clause. Hey, by the way, you'll probably only get to ride 2 or 3 rides using this mechanism.
Mm-hmm. So
still a thumbs down for me.
It's a change. It's just it's basically them admitting we know this isn't good.
Right.
And I got an email back from Disney yesterday, and it actually said in there in part, this is a new system. It's going to take time to work out the kinks. We're trying. We know there are some issues, and didn't give me much details, but it was something.
Yeah.
So just remember all of that as well. Only 2 or 3 is what you'd most likely be getting. And I was talking with Richard. He's like, doesn't the genie give you 3 wishes?
Ah, clever. I see what they did there.
You only get 2, but I've watched Aladdin.
You wish you could get on a 4th ride. How about that?
Aladdin really only got 1 wish. I mean, the other wish.
That is true. Yeah,
he got a makeover. That was his wish.
That's true.
Useless wish. The other news is, as was leaked like over a month ago, Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be opening on May 27th. This is courtesy of Blog Mickey, as was some of our other images that we've used. Get that out there now. They have officially announced it will be opening May 27th.
Woo-hoo.
There are previews that are going to be going on for annual pass holders, for D23 members. I think the annual pass holders have already sold out of their previews for Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind.
This is going to be considered a family thrill indoor coaster. How cool.
The words family and thrill don't really go together.
I'm curious. I'm very curious. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be like Space Mountain, but instead of 2-car people, it's 4-car. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the ride vehicles do show you're going to be in like, I think 4 or 6 people per. They will move, like they rotate.
Oh, cool.
But it's not going to be like, you've done Silver Dollar City, right?
Oh, yeah.
Not like Time Traveler
Not like
rotate.
Time Traveler.
This is like pointing you in the right direction. They call it an
gotcha.
Omnicoaster, the way that when you're in
kind of like
Mansion,
Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, or Haunted Mansion, they
Oh,
point
yeah.
you to all the scenes as you're going through and everything. And it will have at least one launch that will be done in reverse.
Ooh.
Hence the name Cosmic Rewind.
Gotcha.
And so it's going to be pretty neat. It's also going to be one of the longest indoor roller coasters in the world, longer than even Hagrid's coaster at Universal.
That's super exciting.
So
I just changed my rope drop ride.
I'm pretty sure when they did the concrete pour, whenever they were building the show building, it was the largest concrete. It was like a Guinness World Record for largest concrete pour at one time. Like, I didn't know people kept track of that, but okay.
Me either.
Now, we do have, that's the news for Cosmic Rewind. You're going to give us a full review in September or October.
Yep.
But some of the other news, this one that we talked about on the last one about pre- and post-COVID changes, is character meet and greets. And so they did announce that they would come back on April 18th. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you?
Oh my gosh. Well, considering this is my very most favorite thing ever about Walt Disney World, that's got to be a 10. Got to be a 10.
It is a big deal.
It is.
And because that's what you go there for.
Yes, I agree.
It's really tough telling a kid that you can't go up and hug these things.
Yeah.
these characters, and it's if you don't believe how special they can be, just check this out. Candace was doing a video, and she stopped the video right before Brooklyn leaned in. But thankfully, because they have PhotoPass photographers there, that photographer was still able to capture
That's
the
such a
moment
cute
on there.
photo.
So it's really neat that these things are finally coming back.
Yes.
And in another news of things coming back, what would you say I'm going to say it's probably going to be your favorite fireworks show now that Happily Ever After is gone. What would you say that would be?
Fantasmic.
You think Fantasmic, huh?
Yes.
Well, I've got some good news for you because there are rumors that it's going to be coming back probably by Memorial Day at the latest.
Okay, great.
And this is one of the most, I want to say it's probably the most ambitious show that Disney's ever done for fireworks, because
Yes.
it's a full show. It's like 15, 20 minutes long,
Mhm.
which is around what Happily Ever After was.
Mhm.
Enchantment, by the way, is shorter by about 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But Fantasmic, it has a whole story to it. That's where you get, as you know, seen in the picture here, you get
And it features Sorcerer Mickey. You and I both love
Yeah.
Sorcerer Mickey.
Right
So,
there.
I mean, come on.
features lots of characters that are in there. You get Maleficent in full dragon mode.
Yes, you do.
You get all
You
sorts
get John
of
Smith,
characters.
Pocahontas, just all these crazy random ones that you don't see.
You haven't heard that rumor then? I've heard
Oh,
they've cut the
gosh, I remember
Pocahontas-
that from last year. It was so dumb. But yes, I do.
Yeah,
Now that
the
you
Pocahontas
remind
scene has
me.
been cut, along with Zippity Doodah from the parade at Magic Kingdom.
I'm
But-
just not going to say anything.
So, but Fantasmic is, like I said, you're around, and it is packed in there.
Yes.
You know, it is crazy. Don't bother getting a lightning lane for it if they offer it, because we
No.
got Fast Pass before, and there's no point in doing it.
No.
That would be a complete waste of it. So that's a big no. Don't do it there.
This also, I don't think we mentioned it, but it is at Hollywood Studios.
Okay,
So-
yeah.
This is the show at Hollywood Studios. Usually every park has a nighttime show. Animal Kingdom doesn't have one right now. They used to have the
Rivers of Light.
Rivers of Light. Yeah, that was the one. But
You got rid of it and replaced it with Kite
Kite Tales, which did y'all not check that out?
We were standing in line for Kali River Rapids when it was going.
Yeah.
Since we only had a half day, we were kind of like, I was like, oh, is there a show going over there? I was like, yeah, they fly kites. She goes, wait, what? I said, that's the show. You got two people on a jet ski that fly kites over the water.
Yeah.
That's okay. But you know, they are constrained with what they can do. They
Mhm, the
cannot do
animals,
fireworks.
Yeah.
You have a lot of angry rhinos if you do that.
True. Don't want that.
So, but yeah, Fantasmic, rumored to maybe be coming back this month, at least by Memorial Day. So we'll, I guess, see when that does come about.
Definitely check it out if you're going.
And-
It's 100% worth it. I think we watched it 2 times last time we went, and my husband wanted a third time, and I had to remind him that there were other shows that we needed to watch, so we didn't do it.
Is the Chernobog part of Fantasmic? I can't remember.
Yes,
Okay.
I love Chernobog.
That is the most evil-looking character I think that Disney has ever created. I mean, it looks straight out of a Stephen King novel.
He's pretty cool.
You just look it up. It's only in Fantasia.
Yes,
He was in the scene where like the smaller demonish
little
type
underworld
things.
type creatures. Yeah,
And that's the only thing he's ever appeared in, except for he is in a couple of the shows at Disney World now.
Yep.
So you have that. So also you mentioned there is some updates to dining.
yes. Like I said, well, my prediction was with the character meets coming back. I'm extremely hopeful, and I feel like there's nothing been confirmed yet, but I've talked to my travel agent that I use each time, and she also has said it hasn't been confirmed, but we are being told that dining with characters will be coming back soon too, which excites the heck out of me. Be Our Guest is the lunch and dinner at the Beast Castle in Magic Kingdom. There's 2 castles in Magic Kingdom. There's Cinderella's and Belle and Beast Castle. Be Our Guest is the lunch and dinner and breakfast that they usually offer. Dinner, you can actually dine with the Beast. You can't dine with him, but you can actually see the Beast. And this is the actually only time you will be able to see the Beast. He doesn't participate in parades. He doesn't have his own meet and greet. If you want to see the Beast, you must make a reservation for dinner time. However, breakfast has not been open currently since COVID. They just announced like 2 days ago that you are now eligible to make reservations for brunch, which I'm guessing that's about a 10 o'clock a.m. maybe breakfast for Be Our Guest. So yeah, just kind of a little honorable mention for new news.
We have never done the dinner for Be Our Guest, and that's Beast over there on the right-hand side is only at dinner. If you do lunch, you won't see Beast walking around. But even though it's a quick service lunch, you're still highly recommended to make a reservation for
Yes.
it. There's a very long standby line, and even if you have a reservation, you may still find yourself waiting a while for your food.
Mm-hmm. I will say we did do dinner last time we were there, and that's just because Beast is one of my all-time favorite movie characters, and I had to meet him. So we went ahead and did the dinner, but this is one of the 2 most expensive character meals on site that Disney offers, and I think it added up to like an outrageous amount for 4 people. And
Would your discount for Art of Animation cover it?
barely. Yeah, it was rough. But we had the dining plan, so it took 2 table credits, which Cinderella's Castle does too. But I will say we probably won't do it again because that was probably our least favorite food-wise. The experience was awesome, though.
I will say we did 2 times Be Our Guest at lunch, and I wasn't that impressed with either time. And
No.
we wouldn't have done it if we were not doing a dining plan.
Yes.
And if I guess we could talk briefly about a dining plan is there are different kinds of dining plans that you get. Some of them you can get a quick service only,
Mm-hmm.
in which each person in your party receives 2 quick service meals and 2 snacks for each night that you are staying at a resort. It doesn't have anything to do with your park days. So if you're at the resort 5 nights, park at 4 days, then each person will have 10 quick service credits and 10 snack credits. And snacks are basically anything under $10. You go to Starbucks, you get a latte, that could be used for a snack credit. A
Turkey leg.
Nutella waffle at Sleepy Hollow, snack credit. Any of the quick service deals, it just deducts it from
Dole Whip.
there. And most of the time, we have never actually purchased the dining plan.
Oh,
We've
wow.
always gone at the times when they were stay during these dates, and you get the dining plan included for free.
Yes,
in which
that's
that's
what
where
we do
you
too.
make your money.
Mm-hmm.
Because, personally speaking, a lot of the expense has to do with alcoholic beverages.
Yeah.
And if you don't drink any alcoholic beverages,
It's not worth it.
it's either break even or it's more expensive to buy a dining
Mhm.
plan than to just get the individual meals. But the really nice thing is just not having to worry about it, to think this is built into my budgeted trip, and
Yep.
to be able to just go from there and say, I don't care what we're ordering, we order, there it is, I don't have to pay you anymore right now. So there is something for that.
Very true.
But it's not back yet. It's got to be just any time now because they've been rumored for months, I think since the winter.
Oh gosh, I'm prepared. I'm so prepared. And like I said, my travel agent has also hinted to me that it's coming. So
So those are our Disney park updates on the news. We did talk a little bit last time about wanting to get into maybe talking about some of these shows and movies that we recommend or watch. And as you can imagine, we've probably both seen a couple of Disney titles before.
just be
But we're gonna skip over anything classical. We're gonna skip over anything mainstream with movies, and maybe focus for right now on just giving a couple of TV shows that are kind of neat to watch.
yeah.
So, what do you got?
So my family just finished. I will start by saying I have 2 daughters. One just turned 9 and one is 7. So if we're kind of talking about age appropriate, we just finished Secrets at Sulphur Springs, and now, mind you, my whole family lives for a good mystery story. And this one talks about a girl who lives or resides at a hotel back in like the 60s, and anyways, it was a camp at that time, and it's I can't tell you too much without spoiling, but there's a lot of time traveling, and the girl goes missing during this time travel, and 2 kids are now trying to solve the mystery. It's actually really good. I highly recommend it. I think we all enjoyed it, and we all wanted to just watch the next episode. But I think season 2 comes out next February, so we're excited for that. Counting down the days. And one that we are interested in watching, spinning off of that. I don't even think they're related, but what is it called? Parallel?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Parallel. That one also looks good, so I'll have to keep you updated on that when we start watching that one.
And that one, I think, has multiverse in the description of it. So if you're a comic book nerd or anything like that, you're probably like, okay, I'll check it out at least.
Yeah.
And the good thing is, it's like you said, you've got 2 kids, 9 and 7, so
Mhm.
they're appropriate.
Right.
And there have been, let's see, we like Star Wars, so we like the Mandalorian. We tolerated Boba Fett, and I love Boba Fett. I've got a Boba Fett watch band for my Apple Watch. I think he's one of the coolest characters, but that show started off slow, and it picked up at a certain point, and you know where it picks up because he's no longer in the show when it picks up.
Oh, God.
Yeah, there's an episode where he's not in it at all, and it's the best episode of the
Oh.
entire series.
Hmm.
So, I'm looking forward to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Having basically a reunion of sorts from the prequels on there.
Okay.
So I like that one, but any Marvel shows, we just started watching Moon Knight, which is different. The main character suffers from dissociative identity disorder. In the past would have been incorrectly referred to as schizophrenia.
Oh.
And so there are multiple personalities in there, and the voice of the thing that gives him his power sounds an awful lot like Optimus Prime.
Hmm.
So I'm just like, what's this show about Egypt doing with Optimus Prime in it? But it's
Yeah,
not the
really.
same voice actor, but it sure does sound familiar.
Wow.
And so that is intriguing. If you like Marvel, check it out. It's also got Ethan Hawke in it.
And it's called
It is called Moon Knight.
Moon Knight. Okay.
It's like Ethan Hawke is in it, and I hadn't seen him in anything in like 20 years. Now all of a sudden he's started popping up again, so I guess
Okay.
he's back. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to change gears a little bit, and some of the stuff we're going to talk about, you may or may not want to have kids around for. So if you have your kids, go ahead, and if you're watching this when we're not live, you can go ahead and pause it, have them leave the room, and then decide for yourself, is this something I want them to watch, or is this something that I want to maybe just talk about with them later? Now, if you're watching live now, this is kind of your warning to have them leave the room or just stop this and resume it later. I do want to say we're going to do emotions run high on this subject material on both sides. No matter how you feel about anything, emotions on this are always high. We're going to do our very best to treat this with the utmost respect for anyone watching, regardless of opinion. And we simply ask that if any comments be made in this, that the respect stay there between person to person,
Yes.
as well amongst the comments.
Absolutely.
Disney Plus started off back in November of 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and it was going to be the full catalog of Disney movies. They announced a handful of shows, such as Obi-Wan Kenobi coming back. You got the Marvel shows like Loki, WandaVision, and WandaVision is just a little bit strange. So if you like all the Marvel movies and you're expecting that exactly, be prepared. But it is a fun trip down memory lane for some nostalgia purposes. And very early on, it started off as, this is my thing that I could do and never have to worry about the kids watching it because it's Disney.
That's right.
And over time, that has changed to a certain degree.
I agree.
Summer of 2020, very early on, we're only in the first 8 months of it being out, they added in Hamilton. Hamilton is Lin-Manuel Miranda's, probably never be able to top that as far as the acclaim that he's received for it, but it's his musical about Alexander Hamilton, and there are 3 F-bombs in it. And so the question became then, nothing on Disney Plus is higher than PG-13 at this moment. How are you doing it? And basically, they censored 2 of them for the Disney Plus version, and the third one is not censored, but the music essentially covers it up so that you know what he's saying, but you really can't hear it.
Okay.
And so, like, okay, well, I can see that's a compromise. There was a lot of speculation what's going to happen with Marvel on all of their Netflix series they had for things like Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Defenders, and Jessica Jones, and which were very, very, very gritty shows. They were on Netflix. They were Netflix originals. They were MA, but they tied into the movies. You would have references to like the Battle of New York from the first Avengers movie, and you still haven't seen that one yet, right?
I haven't seen any Marvel,
Right,
and I haven't seen Hamilton, and so I'm just kind of.
I haven't watched Brave yet, so it's okay.
Yeah.
We'll get
It
there.
evens out.
But the question came, what are they going to do? Because it's kind of tied in there, but it's no longer on Netflix. Well, Disney Plus added it, and then you have the question of this is very gritty. This is very violent, especially on Daredevil. And Jessica Jones touches on a lot of mature subject matter. What they did was, if you want to have access to that, you basically have to put a lock on your profile. So you set like a 4-digit PIN, and anytime you access that particular profile, you have to put it in. So the idea is you have a profile for you, a profile for your kids, and your kids can't get into yours.
Okay.
And so I think that's a good move to do that if you're going to provide the mature content to go ahead and do that.
Limit the access, right.
And so all that is just, all of this is not the news. This is nothing new on there other than the content lock that just came about recently. The news that's been coming out lately, you've probably already seen it on Facebook. There have been multiple things shared about, I think the first thing we saw was Turning Red. A lot of Facebook posts about that, and then a lot of Facebook posts about a story that aired on Fox News with Tucker Carlson entitled Woke Disney. And so that's kind of what we're going to be talking about now, because it's
Very
everywhere.
touchy and such a trigger topic for.
And it's, how do you deal with it?
I don't know.
So that's kind of what we're going to discuss right now for a few minutes, and
hopefully a few minutes.
yeah. So the idea here is, I'm going to say this as the viewpiece, or I'm going to say this from the mouthpiece of someone who's conservative, right wing. So,
and myself as well. I think we share the same belief when it comes to this topic.
but for anyone else who is on a different side, when we say opposite side or other side, in the area we live, this is the language that prevails. This is the way that people identify, and it's not meant to slight anyone at all.
No.
It's just so that you know where our reference point is. When you hear us say these terms, you can identify them with your own vocabulary.
Yes.
So, as someone who is right-wing conservative, the basic narrative in all of this is that Disney has decided to go left, that Disney is now woke. And I'm going to use those air quotes every time I say it, that Disney has decided to push agendas on everybody. And it goes with a lot of different things. And it's gone back a while. I remember they had Beauty and the Beast, the live action. The director of that was quoted as saying that there was an exclusively gay moment in Beauty and the Beast. And boy, everyone on like our side of it was like,
the
"What
live
icon in this
action one,
movie?"
right? Is
Yeah.
that what we're talking about?
Like,
Yes.
I really wanted to see Hermione as Belle and see what she could
Yes.
sing, but now I'm not going to watch it because of this.
Yep.
And then it came out, and people who are in that community, they were upset with the director for a term that is called queer baiting. You ever heard that one before?
I think so.
The idea of a movie director or something like that is going to tease representation in their movie, and then that turns out to be so tiny and small. And in Beauty and the Beast, it was a blink and you'll miss it moment.
Yes.
That dealt with a character who, just like in the cartoon, when the dresser attacked this character in the scene at the end of the movie, put clothes on him in the shape of, or put women's clothes on him. And in the live action version, he's like, oh, I kind of like this. And he's seen later, and LeFou looks at him and just kind of, and that was it.
Yeah.
And like our kids
Probably
wouldn't have
didn't even catch it.
No.
Yeah.
Not a bit. And so you have things going back to that. You have a same-sex kiss in Star Wars episode 8 or 9. I don't remember, honestly. and it's a background deal. And the same thing was like, there's going to be a gay couple in there, and people were like, oh, it's going to be Poe, it's going to be Finn, which were like the two main male characters in the sequel trilogy. And it turned out to be background characters that are never named, you know. And people were mad about that on both sides as well. People were mad saying, why'd you have to put that in there unless you're pushing an agenda? And people on the other side,
There's not enough.
yeah, it's like, this is not representation. This is lip service, pun intended in that case. So you have all this going on. Recently, Florida had a bill passed that was referred to, not actually named, but referred to as the Don't Say Gay bill. Interestingly, the word gay does not appear in this bill at all. And some people at Disney were upset about it, and some people at Disney were upset about Bob Chapek not being harsh enough against this bill. Bob Chapek is the current CEO. Bob Iger stepped away in the last year and a half, right after COVID started.
We miss him.
Yeah, but even then, there were already. We're not going to get into that. We're going to have a special episode that just talks about executives and how Eisner almost ruined Europe. But he did give us Splash Mountain.
Yes.
So, but about basically being upset with him for not coming out and condemning this bill enough. And the short version of this bill, have you read it?
No, I've bits and pieces. I try really to stay out of the politics of Disney. I really do.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I've understood from most people that a lot of the people who pass these bills don't read them either. So, you know, there are
Good.
hundreds of pages sometimes, and they're given to them a few hours before they vote. But from what I've understood, and I could be wrong, and I've seen this on both sides of the aisle's news sources, is that it was basically saying in Florida from a young age, from 3 to 7, you gonna sneeze?
Sorry, yawning.
Oh,
I think I have a sneeze coming though too.
bless you in advance. From those ages, you cannot, in a public education system, teach those kids about sexual orientation, identity, or even teach genitals to them. And that's what the bill, in essence, was.
Right.
And it came out as saying, you're indoctrinating our kids that only cisgendered and heterosexual is normal. When in reality, I've seen a lot of people post this. When you were in kindergarten, did you even know if your teacher was married?
Nope.
I go up and I substitute for my wife's class, and they call me her dad because they just don't get the idea of husband. They just know that
Right.
we live together, and
Right.
I'm a man and she's a woman. So
And that's how it should be. It should stop there, and
They
you're
don't
there
need-
to teach.
they don't need to know. I don't need to teach that stuff. I saw Kindergarten Cop. It doesn't do well when you start bringing in those other things into
Exactly.
the equation.
Exactly.
And so that's what the bill was. People at Disney got upset about it because they instantly assumed this is a agenda to get us pushed out of the narrative in schools and to indoctrinate kids against that.
Right.
And in reality, from my viewpoint, is it protects everybody. Because while you can't have a teacher say, this is wrong if you decide you want to be a woman, you also can't have a teacher say, this is wrong if you are gay. And so they had this whole planned walkout. And it was like the day or two after we got back from Disney World, and I was like, oh, thank goodness we left then.
Yeah, for real.
Like, what are we going to do? Like, we're on Splash Mountain. Sorry, I got to go on strike right now. Like, you put me in that
Yeah.
raft before
We'll
you
get
go
you a
on
fast
strike.
pass, no problem.
One person in Florida walked out for this walkout. One person. California had more people walk out.
That's interesting to me.
It doesn't affect California, but people over there walked out.
That's
But
very interesting.
even with that, though, I heard that the media there to cover the walkout outnumbered the people who actually walked out.
Wow.
And they basically did a lap around the building that they were working in and went back inside.
Oh, well.
And so all of this is going on, and they're mad, and so they have an all-hands-on-deck meeting. And Tucker Carlson reported on this, and someone recorded this Zoom meeting. Specifically, one executive, I do not remember what their name is.
It was a female, right?
Yes, I'm not going to say it.
Sorry.
I'm trying to be respectful. I promise
Yes.
you.
Right.
But basically saying, you know, she is a member of, as she put it, the queer community.
Yes.
And she said, I'm trying to inject that into every project that I'm on, and no one up above has said, hey, stop this, so I'm just going to do it.
Isn't she a director as well for some of the films?
I believe so. I don't know which films.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't know which ones I can't watch now.
Mm-hmm.
But you have that going on where she says that she's injecting this in there, and so the instant reaction from at least people around here is, I'm going to boycott Disney everything. I'm not going to pay for Disney Plus anymore. I'm assuming that means they cancel their subscription, not that they're going to borrow their parents' subscription.
Wow, I'd hope they went ahead and canceled, because if they're going to do that.
But that is the narrative that has been going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've been having to deal with that, because we just got back from Disney and we have kids. Yours are 9 and 7, mine are 10 and 12. And so we're getting to the age where this stuff, is going to come up a lot more for them. And we live in the panhandle of Texas. And even out here in what most of y'all would call 1883 or Yellowstone country.
Or BFE. A lot of people are referring to that. Like out there in BFE, that's what they call it. I don't know. Like middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere actually does fit.
It does. We got a whole 12 people here in town.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But that is, I don't even remember where I was going with that.
I don't either. I forgot. We live in Texas, so we're going to have to explain.
We even here, there are these communities that exist. It's not like everyone here is walking around with a gun, driving a big white truck, and has a beard down to their belly button and everything like that.
No.
And so we drive cars. I don't even own a gun or a truck. I don't know how I'm even living in the state.
Yeah.
So we deal with this, and we have these conversations of what should we do. And it is not up to anyone to tell you what to do. Mm-hmm. Chelsea, I can't tell you to cancel your Disney Plus, or if you don't cancel your Disney Plus, you're a horrible person who wants to indoctrinate kids into doing things that you believe are incorrect.
Right.
And you can't tell me that I'm wrong for canceling my Disney Plus either.
Honestly, what does it benefit if we cancel Disney Plus? Because that just leaves Netflix open and Hulu open, and in my own opinion, those have far worse scenes on them than Disney Plus does. So
we don't have any answers.
We don't.
We wanted to approach the topic and just give some of our viewpoints. And I've been talking a whole lot, so I'm going to say my piece with it, and then I'll turn it over to you. And if you want to ramble the way I have for 10 minutes, you can ramble too. Like I said, my full-time job is as a minister, so sometimes rambling just comes with it.
Yeah.
So my thought is, if you're doing it for the sole purpose of trying to hurt Disney's pocketbook, you will fail. And Disney announced 6 months into Disney Plus that they were already past where they thought they would be on the subscriber count after 5 years. Mm-hmm. They could not make any more money from Disney Plus subscribers for a few years and probably still be profitable from their original expectations at launch. Mm-hmm. They also own everything. ESPN, ABC, Disney has shares with those. If you ever wonder how come American Idol has Disney Night, that's why. If you ever wonder why Dancing with the Stars has Disney Night, that's why, because their parent company and Disney have very close ties. Wonderful World of Disney used to air on ABCs on Sunday nights. Are you old enough for those?
I haven't seen those.
So old over here. And so they have ways to recoup your money. They're not going to be hurting. They're going to be just okay without your money. So if that's your sole reason for doing it, that's one thing. If your reason is, I feel like I consciously cannot do this, if I feel like this violates my conscience, like if you, whatever reason it is, if it's just your moral compass or if it's that you're a Christian and you feel you can't do that, that is something else entirely, and no one can or should try to dissuade you of your opinion.
Agreed.
My viewpoint that I talked about, and we talked about this before we got going on the pre-show, was if you are a Christian, and one thing should be very clear, and that is that the world is always going to have a different viewpoint than what you should be having.
Yes.
If your focus is as a Christian on the cross, and your focus is on Jesus, and your focus is on repairing that relationship that has been broken since the dawn of time, if your focus is that's the reason Jesus came to this earth, if your focus is that's why the cross happened, then every company you look at, you're going to be able to find things wrong with it. Every place that you shop probably has people high up in the executives that hire lobbyists to go to Congress to fight bills like the one we just talked about. Every company like that is going to have executives. So my caution is just, if you're not willing to cut out everything that you are able to cut out, not meaning like, oh, I don't agree with the government and what they do, so I decided I'm not going to pay my taxes because of religious reasons. I'm not saying something like that. I'm saying the things that you have control over.
Right.
If you're not willing...
Luxuries.
Yes. Like streaming services.
Yes.
If you're not willing to cut out everything, then you open the door for some uncomfortable conversations with people, and other words that describe you may be used. And because I'm just going to say it, if you put down on your favorite show is Game of Thrones, and then you say that you're mad at Disney for promoting things like same-sex in its shows, then
Game of Thrones isn't your favorite show.
yeah, I mean, there is some things that you are okay for adults that are not okay for children, but if the only distinguishing moral compass is this is a show that kids can watch, and once they turn 21, I'm okay with them watching the show, then I view that just a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Because there are a whole lot of things that we could be boycotting for the exact same reasons that we rarely ever do. And it's too many times in religious circles especially, this is the line that we draw for things. We're not going to draw it at violence. We're not going to draw it for drug use. We're fine with those in shows. But when it comes to this singular specific issue, we treat that as the one thing that we're willing to make a stand about. And so from that's my viewpoint. I have definitely rambled for long enough on that. But in my closing, I just want to say, I don't agree with it. I don't agree. I do not condone what they're doing. I'm not surprised, though, because these are people of the world, and these are people who they're injecting their own lifestyle into their content creation work. Whenever I do anything, I want to put my own style into it. I'm going to put my own dry sense of humor into things. Whenever I preach, I, will inject my own style into it as I talk about the Bible. And so it's not surprising to me that someone would take their life experiences and do it. It doesn't mean I agree with it, but it's not something I feel like we should be blindsided by, because the world has always had its issues whenever talking about the differences between it and religion. So that's kind of where I am, and I think we're going to go ahead and say that neither of us will announce what we're going to do with canceling, ever boycotting, or anything like that. If you see us talking about a show that's on Disney Plus only 2 years from now, that's probably safe to say you'll know. But it's your business.
Right.
Not everything that you do ever has to be public on Facebook in order for people. People don't need to know everything. All right, I'm done, I promise.
I don't have a lot to say, but I want to say Disney World and Disneyland, when Walt envisioned both of these parks, actually I don't even think he knew he was going to do Disney World, but Disneyland, he wanted to be so immersed in just magic and the feeling that you are completely out of, the world's whatever's going on. If there's something ugly out there going on, if there's something political out there going on, just anything that's going on in the real world, he wanted you to feel like this is a complete escape and you're just blissful. Ignorance is bliss, anyways, in Disney World. That was the idea. You cannot buy a newspaper. You've never been able to. I know nobody reads papers anymore, but when there were papers, you can't buy one anywhere in Disney World, Disneyland. And I don't even think you can watch a news program in your resort. I don't know, maybe, I can't remember. We never did. We always watched We watch the weather on our phones when we are watching for
You
hurricanes.
can go to your local stations in the room.
Yes, okay. But regardless, the whole idea beyond that was to just not have to focus on what was going on and go somewhere where you don't have to worry about politics. And here we are, the number one place for that, happiest place in the world. You take your children to vacation there, and everyone, right wing, left wing, is stressed out and combating in this very place for, I don't know, I don't even know what reason. This should not be even a thing right now. Is my deal. Like, whoever you are, whatever you believe in, come to this place and enjoy yourself no matter what. Just, that's what I have to say on it. You don't bother me as a person, no matter what you believe in, and I shouldn't know what you believe in, and nor should you know what I believe in, and that's kind of what I'm getting at is when you go to a place like this, just enjoy being around each other no matter what. So that's what I have.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, you're going there to get away from everything else. You shouldn't have to be thinking about what's going on behind the scenes with
Right.
this. And I would say the vocal majority of people who work, not the vocal majority, the majority of people who work at Disney don't care about these issues either.
Right.
Or that they're more right-leaning than you might believe from news reports.
Mm-hmm.
There's someone who I believe was running for Senate in Florida that used to be a cast member at Disney. And he said most of the people are conservative. And it's just...
Florida is a conservative dominant state.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's just a sign of the times, You can't turn on TV without seeing how much things have changed.
Right.
Even to the point where when all this was going on, apparently when the Don't Say Gay bill got first brought up, there was a scene cut from Lightyear that was going to have a same-sex kiss in it. Now remember, Lightyear is an animated movie about the in-universe, real-life astronaut Buzz Lightyear that inspired the toy for Toy Story.
Right.
And they had that scene in there, and it got cut. And then they decided, oh, well, Florida has this bill, so we're going to put that scene back in it. So the last I heard, it is in the movie, so do with that as you will.
Yeah.
Another thing is, you ever notice that we can't argue anymore?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever watched any old presidential debates?
Yeah.
Like, when I say old and whenever you say old, are probably two different things. I mean, like before Clinton.
Then no.
No? Okay. Debates used to be a form of art in which you would listen to an opponent, and then based on what they said, you would give your rebuttal to it.
Right.
You watch it now, and there's lots of interruptions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like him, hate him, love him, Trump interrupted. Like her, love her, hate her, Clinton interrupted.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, Biden interrupts, Trump interrupts. They all interrupt each other, and when they give their answer, they're given from a prepared statement that most of the time doesn't address what the opponent said.
Right.
And so I had a friend I used to work with, and he's like, a lot of our problems is we just forgot how to debate. We've
Very
forgotten
true.
how to have a difference of opinions and be able to talk about it in a civil way.
And then move on to your next topic.
Yeah. And so that's my plea is be civil with it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to cancel because of this, I applaud you for it. If you don't want to cancel because of this, I applaud you for it. No one should ever sit down and say, how dare you or how dare you not on these kinds of issues.
Right.
If you feel like you can't comfortably go to a Disney park without having something that you feel is being forced upon you that is different to your own ideals, then by all means do not go to the Disney parks.
Mm-hmm.
I have personally never felt that way at a Disney park. Yes, they have changed their language to be, as they put it, quote, more inclusive by saying things like, welcome dreamers of all ages. But if I didn't know the behind-the-scenes news stories, I would just think, oh, that's a cute way to talk to people when you're at Disney World.
Mm-hmm. But now that we have been informed of what that new addressing words will be and where they came from. It's like, because when we went, my girls were referred to as little princesses, and they ate that up. Like, they enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was so cute. So to see that go is sad for me, but it's just a molehill.
And I don't. It may not be gone.
Right.
I know this is the new addresses are all for like their public announcement systems, where they're like before enchantment, dreamers of all ages,
Well,
friends,
and it could be,
family.
it could differ from person to person, cast member wise. Like, if they still want to, I don't know.
Well,
if
they
get in
have
trouble
been
or not.
they have been instructed to try and remove that,
Okay.
but they're at least removing it and replacing with things that still fit with the idea of Disney, such as dreamers of all
Dreamers.
ages, or
Toys
friends.
at Toy Story Land.
Yes.
Hmm.
So
Again, a molehill.
yeah, but that's kind of what is going on. And if you hadn't watched the Tucker Carlson video, then go watch the Tucker Carlson video. I wish that the entire interview that got recorded was on there, because we do only get snippets of it,
Right.
and snippets can be taken out of context. I don't believe it's necessarily taken out of context in this place, but it would be nice to see the entire thing to see if anything else ever is said.
Yeah.
Which is one problem when you have news blasts, is they're so short
Yep.
that you can't cover everything.
Right.
But those are some of the things that are going on with the idea that Disney is pushing this on you. And if you feel that way, then do what you feel is right. No one will ever tell you otherwise.
Right.
No one ever should tell you otherwise either. But those are kind of the latest news. I know we're kind of ending with a bummer, so I kind of feel like maybe there could be like some good news.
I know. I wish we
end
kind of
with.
saved something, because
Something-
we're just kind of like, all right, bye now.
Something happy going on here lately. So,
What's coming new to Disney Plus? Is anything to maybe?
Moon Knight is out right now.
Oh, okay.
And then Obi-Wan Kenobi is on May 27th.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be 2 episodes dropped on that one right at launch. If you like the Star Wars prequels, you'll like that. If you at least like certain characters from the Star Wars prequels, you'll like that. Darth Vader will be in it, so there you go. If you like the characters created for things like Clone Wars and Rebels, you'll probably hate the way they look in real life, but, molehill, I guess.
Yeah, molehill. Word of the day.
But that is what is kind of all going on there at Disney right now. So, again, meet and greets coming back 12 days from now. You can go hug Mickey and Minnie.
Yeah.
Get there the day after Easter and line up and give them a big old hug.
Yeah.
Probably no kisses allowed, though.
No, no kisses. You just
And don't
have
touch
to refrain.
Gaston.
Oh, yeah, don't.
People, not me. I didn't learn that the hard way. I've just seen videos of people get kicked out of the park.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to assuming things here.
Yeah, for real.
But all that coming, May 27th, Guardians of the Galaxy, which this is interesting. May 27th is 5 years to the day from when Mission Breakout opened up at Disneyland.
Okay, cool.
So apparently
I
May
wonder if they
20th,
did that on purpose.
I bet there was probably something to it to do that. But apparently May 27th will be Guardians of the Galaxy Day.
Cool.
And, so that'll be pretty neat if you are there for one of those. But again, hope you click the like, subscribe button, check it out. And if you do engage in conversation with anyone regarding these issues, just be civil.
Yeah.
No matter, doesn't matter if you are absolutely right. You can be right at the same time that you're wrong in the way that you approach people, because we are all on this spaceship Earth together.
I like
And
that.
if we get along, there can be a great, big, beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day. And zippity-doo-dah. Those are all the things that will soon be gone from Disney. But hope that you have a magical day. Hope you have a magical week, and enjoy.
Yeah, bye.